How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and first things first, happy Halloween. For those of you that are, well, I don't know if a lot's going on in the world this year as far as that goes. It's probably a bit early for it, but I suppose just about getting there in Australia, getting early to avoid disappointment. Yeah, I'm going to go and do a mission today called Pipe Dreams. It's the one where I've got to go and take this big fat fuel trailer to a factory in like the top corner, and then I've got to go and get some bricks and some metal beams. And yeah, I'm taking this beast, the Voron D. I can actually get the D, that's what she said, pretty early on in this game. And another thing, because I wanted to go and kind of do a nighttime cruise as it's Halloween, keep the spooky theme going. But yeah, I was flicking through a few different trucks. I was considering the P12 and all sorts. Left it in bloody reverse again, already smashed the garage doors open. That's definitely what she said. And yeah, a lot of them, like, I either can't unlock the fog lights yet, roof bars, etc, etc, and they just weren't that well lit up. In the end, I settled for this thing. It's got the special off-road gearbox, but because I'm pretty early in the game and I haven't got like the off-road and the high range unlocked anyway, yeah, I thought I'd see how it goes. I originally very quickly changed my mind. I was going to cut through that like road I was just heading to and pop out at the farm and then kind of go up the hill that way. I soon realised when I was a few foot down the trail, so to speak, I won't even say it this time, yeah, and I soon changed my mind, U-turn, turn back. I think I hit a tree stump on the way. So yeah, I kind of bottled it. I'm going to go pretty much the way I usually go when I go on my review videos, because yeah, I've not really taken this trailer along there, and like I say, it's a pretty cool trailer. I kind of almost considered not cashing it in originally. You'll kind of see near the end. This truck, by the way, has like a gear change that sounds like a little chirping bird, if you're wondering what that noise is. And yeah, I nearly I did cash it in, then restart the game or whatever to like have it load back a bit before to where I still had the trailer. In all honesty though, in the end I cashed it in because I don't think it's going to let me go on to like Smithville and the other maps. And yeah, at least now I've got a bit of gameplay and messing around with it. I'd certainly like to keep the trailer for other things. It'd be a pretty cool trailer just to have anyway, as it's a fuel trailer, so it is actually of some use in the game. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see later on. Maybe they'll add some to the trailer store or whatever. But anyway, yeah, while I'm cruising over to the factory, I figured we'll keep it with a Halloween theme, and I'll try and tell you some potential possible ghost stories that I've seen, things I've seen and had happen in my life. But as far as ghosts go, before we get into the stories, whether you believe in ghosts or not, I honestly don't know. I certainly couldn't say an absolute no, and I certainly couldn't say an absolute yes. And even if anyone agrees or disagrees with the possibility of ghosts, you've even then got the question of like, what would they be? Would they be like spiritual, religious kind of area? Would it be kind of a scientific-y, alien-y area? Or it could be all sorts, you just never know. So, like I say, it's one of those things that, I don't know, I appreciate the vast majority of stuff you'll see on YouTube is going to be faked, because, yeah, there seems to be like a trend for ghost type things on there. I'm certainly not going to be doing it on this channel, not unless you want 400 videos of is my PlayStation 4 haunted, and let's play various games to find out. But yeah, other than that, I've just basically, I mean, I'm sure we've all you see things out the corner of your eye and all that. I'm not really including them, but I'm going to tell you 3 things that I would say are the biggest things that I can remember from my life that are pretty creepy, pretty weird. I certainly can't really put an explanation to them. 2 of them happened when I was pretty young, so you can kind of brush them off or whatever, but, well, you'll see when I get into them. I think they, yeah, you'll see why I have reason to believe otherwise. Like I say, if you think I'm full of bullshit or whatever, that's fine. I'm not making the stories up. I have no reason to embellish them or anything like that. Making shit up to me, it holds no nostalgic value, it holds no memory value. I don't like, yeah, just inventing a story means nothing to me. But by all means, like, I wouldn't blame you because, I don't know, somebody telling stuff on the internet. Don't believe everything you hear. You're more than welcome not to believe me. But yeah, these are some of the things. Like I say, I've narrowed it down to 3 things that were pretty memorable, I would say. So anyway, we'll start off with the first 2, as they kind of happen in the same place around the same time. Basically, when I was about 8 years old, my mum got E. coli, like salmonella, and she ended up getting like very ill, pretty much nearly died. Fortunately, like her friend ended up coming around the house pretty much a few hours before she died, and she got rushed to hospital, and she was in there for like 6 months. So my 2 brothers went and stayed with their dad on the farm, and then me and my sister had to go and stay with our dad's mum and dad, which, yeah, to be I'll say now, technically my grandma, she was just like classic bitter old woman kind of thing. My granddad, Michael, he's died now, rest in peace, but yeah, he was pretty cool, he was pretty sound. But anyway, I'll get into that another time. But their house was in this little village, like a very, very old village, and they had the big barn, garagey type things stuck to the side of the house. And I can pretty much confirm this is true, for I'll get into it in a minute. But years and years ago, that house was like, I don't know if it was like a public house, like a pub, but they used to do the like public hangings there, public executions, when back in the day, like hundreds of years, or not hundreds of years, say 100 years ago, when people used to get hung. And that was like, not just for that village, but that area, that's where they used to hang people. And this is genuinely true. In the like, it's not a garage, it's more like, imagine like a big set of double garages, but with no garage doors. But again, like 100, 200 years ago, where you'd be parking like a literal horse and cart in there. Like, so they're pretty big archways. But inside there, in the back corner, was still two sets of like the steps with the actual hangman thing on it, like the, you know, the post going up and across and everything. And yeah, like I say, they used to hang people there. It was a pretty freaky old house as well. One of the sort of just, yeah, pretty big, pretty old, pretty creepy, all dark wood, creaky floorboards, all the stuff. Pretty cliche, to be honest. And anyway, yeah, like I say, we had to stay there, me and my sister. Didn't really have any choice in the matter at the time. And in the back bedroom, I was in there one night. And this is, yeah, well, like I say, this is the first one I can definitely remember that's pretty crazy. And for me personally, there's something that kind of confirmed it eventually. But I was laying there in bed, and what I believe I saw, and again, I'm not necessarily saying it's a ghost, but all I would say, if it wasn't, is what the hell was it then? Unless I was just hallucinating, but you'll see why I don't believe so. It looked like a person came out the wall, but not like a person. It looked freaky, like it looked purple and yellow with like a bright yellow outline. Its face, quote unquote, didn't really look human, but it kind of did. It looked fucking freaky. It was like, it looked like it had a big jaw hanging down and all sort. It was, yeah, pretty scary when I was like a little kid. It looked like it just walked out the wall, stared at me as it walked past the end of my bed, and then it got more level with my sister's bed, then started looking at her, and then just went out the other side of the wall. And at the time when it happened, I was just like sort of zoned out staring at it, and when it disappeared, it was kind of like a suddenly reality hit. I shit myself, started screaming and everything, ran out the room. My dad and my grandparents were downstairs, and yeah, I was just sort of freaking out at first, and my dad was kind of dismissing me, and then I said, oh, I've seen a ghost come out the wall and blah blah blah. And even though he was still dismissing me, I still remember it then, that as soon as I said that, he kind of took me a little bit more seriously. But anyway, I know for a guaranteed fact that I did not tell anybody what I'd seen. I said I'd seen what I think was a ghost. Well, obviously at the time I was just like, yeah, I've just seen a ghost. But my auntie came over a few days later, and because my dad told me, she said she'd seen something in that back bedroom. And yeah, I know for a fact that I did not tell anybody what it looked like and everything. And I asked my auntie, what did you see? And she basically described the exact same thing. She said it was like a deep purple that was kind of like, not pulsing, but kind of. And then she said, yeah, a really like bright yellow outline. And she said it looked pretty scary. That's all she'd say, bearing in mind I was a little kid at the time. And yeah, so that's the first one. Again, not necessarily saying it's a ghost, but it's pretty weird that whatever I seen, she explained the same thing without me pre-explaining it or anything like that. So, the second thing I seen, I was outside on the driveway, and it wasn't very clear, but it was this, I'd say, is like the most, yeah, I could possibly brush this one off just on its own. But I seen what looked like a young Victorian boy just start walking up the driveway and went into the they're not really garages, but it was like, yeah, imagine, like I said, a massive garage with like the archways and whatever, just without garage doors and that, attached to the side of the house. And it looked like he just walked into that building over towards where the like the hangman things were, and then that was it, just sort of faded away. Like I said, on my own, that's a bit of a small one, nothing too crazy. But then anyway, eventually, thankfully, my mum got better. It was a pretty close one as well. I don't know too much about doctors and stuff, but they were talking about platelets in the blood. Apparently, if you drop below 50 platelets per litre or something, you're basically guaranteed to be dead. My mum dropped as low as 12 platelets per litre or something, and she basically had kidney failure. They completely failed, and then they restarted, and the doctor who was caring for her, that was quite high up in the world of like organ failure, kidneys and all that, because the case was pretty serious. And you're going back like in the 90s where they obviously already knew about all that stuff, but you know what I mean, it's like when they've got a case happening, it's like they wouldn't yeah, that's how they learn this stuff. And yeah, her kidneys started working again, and that doctor, well, I don't know if it's changed since, but he was adamant. He said, in all my years doing this whatever, I've never ever seen anybody's organs restart once they've failed like that. So that was pretty goddamn lucky. Fortunately, yeah, my mum came home and we all were kind of back together in our house. But anyway, years and years later, I'm now going to about where I was about 17, 18. Obviously my dad died when I was about 15, and what was left of his house, it was a bit of a bomb site, but essentially me and my sister inherited it, and we sold it to my mum and stepdad. So, because we wanted to move back down like to where we used to live, basically, because we moved away up north. And in yeah, my mum, like, it was my dad's old house, and I do get a bit of a creepy vibe there, but it is what it is. Anyway, this is the one for me that, again, you can say it isn't a ghost or whatever, but I would need some serious what the hell was it then, because not only did I see this, not only was it not just out the corner of my eye, I wasn't nearly asleep, just woke up or otherwise, and my mum seen the exact same thing as me. So there's also a witness there. But I was sat on a sofa talking to my mum in the living room, and like the sofa she was on sort of backed up to one of the walls in the living room, and I genuinely, it's like, even as I say this, I kind of, again, I would appreciate if people think, yep, you're bullshitting, but I promise you I'm not. A fucking jet black shadow of like just a perfect outline of like a person, but slightly turned sideways, just appeared on the wall behind her, full size and everything, and just started walking behind the sofa. I was obviously mid-conversation with my mum, and I just stopped talking and stared at it as it like looked like it was walking behind the sofa. Obviously my mum suddenly realised my face had gone like cliche, but like I'd seen a ghost. She looked round, seen the same thing, and it looked like it was just like, again, I don't know how else to explain it other than it was a shadow on the wall that was just walking along, and it came out from behind the sofa. I seen its legs come out from behind the sofa, so as far as like a shadow being cast, it isn't possible. And yeah, it walked along the wall. When it got near to the edge of the wall, about level with me, because I was on a sofa like adjacent to the sofa my mum was sat on, the only way I could explain it is it looked like it turned towards me and kind of lunged off the wall at me, but as soon as it kind of came off the wall, it vanished, and that kind of like freaked me out as it sort of lunged at me, and I kind of jumped a bit, and that was at the point where I was sort of, my mum shouted something like, oh my god or whatever. I said, did you just see that? Yeah, she said she'd seen the exact same thing. She said when I turned round there was a shadow on the wall that looked like a person just walking along, and that was it, and then it disappeared. So, like I said, that's one of the things. I seen it for about 5 seconds. Like I say, it walked out from behind the sofa. Again, I almost don't believe it when I'm saying it, because I definitely sit within the realm of like science and logic and all that. I'm not really one for the too much of the all like the fantasy realm and all that sort of stuff. I like to see pretty concrete proof. As far as quote unquote ghosts go, we've all seen some videos that are pretty weird. We've probably all had something happen to us in our lives that are a bit weird and unexplainable. But again, I'm not necessarily pinning it onto that, but if anyone else can explain to me how I seen a shadow in a house just appear on the wall, absolutely, like, the clarity of it was a very nice dark shadow, very crisp lines to it and everything, and yeah, that's as retarded as it sounds. That's the only thing I could explain. It looked like a shadow just of a person walking along the wall. After that happened, I got a bit freaked out by this, but I was sort of, me and Mum were trying to talk, saying like, there's no way anything could have cast that shadow. And Mum said, I'll go outside and I'll walk past the window and we'll see if we can get it to create a shadow. If I'm honest, I didn't really say this at the time, but I was shitting my pants when she went outside, because I was now in the living room on my own, where I'd just seen what appeared to be a shadow lunge off the wall at me. Yeah, she walked past that. There's no way, because from where I was sat, like I said, the shadow was behind the sofa, and as it walked out from behind the sofa, I seen its legs and everything, just as if a person was walking out from behind the sofa. Like, if it was a shadow cast from anywhere in front of the sofa, then obviously half the shadow would have been on the sofa. But it wasn't, it was fully behind it, walking along. I don't know how it works to explain it, but that's yeah, that's like the three main things I can remember, really. That, and like I said, up to now, I'm still not 100% decided, but I know what I've seen, my mum knows what she's seen, and neither of us can explain it. Again, I wouldn't even say a ghost or ghosts explain it. It was just weird as fuck, but yeah, it wasn't just out the corner of my eye or anything like that. That's genuinely, that one is the top weirdest thing I've seen. And again, there's witnesses, everything is just, it's weird, I can't explain it. It freaked me out for quite a while. That house in general kind of freaked me out, to be honest. Pretty much everybody who's ever been around that house, there's no downstairs toilet, so you got to go upstairs. And everybody, friends, family, all sorts that have been there, say every time after you've been to the bathroom, it doesn't feel creepy in the bathroom or anything like that. As soon as you start to walk down the stairs, it feels like something's rushing up behind you. That's the only way I can explain it. And again, that's just, I can brush that off as like, yeah, whatever, because it's just a funny feeling. It could be anything. You see it on, like, I don't know, programs that debunk stuff, that it could be like some type of electrical interference or whatever. So yeah, I'll put that down as nothing, but it is funny that the amount of people that came downstairs from there and then said, well, I got the feeling that something was going to grab me at the top of the stairs. And it's like, yeah, you're about the 50th person that said that. Yeah, like I say, that's about one of the oddest things I've seen. I'll tell you one thing, this isn't really like paranormal related, it's kind of the opposite, but I seen, basically, have any of you ever heard of like magnetic hills, they're called? You see them on, like, I've seen them on ghost programs and like Mythbusters being debunked as, like, it looks like, say for example, your car, like the terrain or whatever, is facing downhill, but it looks like your car rolls uphill. And yeah, again, I mean, I think it's been on Mythbusters, I've seen it on some ghost thing where it's like an optical illusion, and it's usually the horizon isn't flat, there's usually a tree or two nearby that kind of grow in at a bit of an angle, whether it's because of wind or sun or whatever, and it kind of fits in with the angle of the horizon, and it just, overall, it sort of tricks your eye into thinking that the ground is flat when it's not, it's leaning one way or the other. But, and if anybody lives on the Isle of Man, I urge you to go and check for this for yourself, because I used to go to the Isle of Man quite a lot. And yeah, my brother Adam was saying to me while we were driving over there, he's like, oh yeah, there's a place round here called Magnetic Hill, and he said, yeah, it's where like you park your car and everything and it pulls it up the hill. And pretty much straight away I was like, yeah, that's a load of bullshit, like, I've seen it on, yeah, Mythbusters, etc. I was like, what it is, you know, the horizon, blah, 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 blah. And he said, right, I'll go and show you, because he basically had the same thing, where his mate said to him, oh yeah, there's a magnetic hill round here. By the way, just for, I don't know, just to make the point while I'm at it, I don't know if this was quote-unquote magnetism, like, obviously the old story is it's like, well, some people turn it into a creepy thing and say it's like some ghost pushing you up the hill, but a lot of them that just say it's basically the Earth's magnetism that is doing that. So anyway, like I say, I said to my brother, yeah, it's a load of bollocks. And then he said, right, I'll tell you what, we'll, it's the Isle of Man, it's a tiny little island, it's like 7 miles by 12 miles. So yeah, we started driving around, trying to have a little look for it, couldn't find it in the end, so we drove to this shop, went in, asked the woman and said, do you know where there's a hill round here that's supposed to make your car drive up the hill? And she was like, oh yeah, you mean Magnetic Hill? I swear to God, in fact, I'll have to check this on Google afterwards. It's called Magnetic Hill, there's even a little stone there, like a plaque, not plaque really, it's just carved into the stone that says Magnetic Hill. And yeah, genuinely, I was like, yep, this is just bullshit. We got there was me, my brother, we had a dog with us, Hugo, coolest dog ever, and he had a load of toys in the back. So my brother got to the hill, put the car in neutral and everything, and we genuinely started going up the hill. Well, again, like at this point, that's when I was saying to him, yeah, it's an optical illusion though, we're still going downhill, it just looks uphill, but he put it in neutral, everything, yeah, hands off the wheel, everything, and we started going pretty quick, and I was like, well, whatever. When we got to the top, I got the dog's tennis ball and said, yeah, when, like, I'll show you. I let the tennis ball out the car and it started flying back down the hill, and I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. He reversed back down to the bottom of the hill again, and it's like pretty goddamn instant. The second time we did it, he let his feet off the clutch, the brake, everything, put it in neutral. He put his feet up on the dash and his hands obviously up in the air. It was a manual car, so it's like there's no way it's driving itself in auto or otherwise. I was shaking the gear stick, and it's like it really is in just not neutral, just it's in no gear. And we started going up the hill pretty bloody quick again, like quickly picking up speed to about 20-25 miles an hour. Got near the tops, put the brakes on, and at that point I was like, oh, this is kind of pretty fucked up. Again, dropped the tennis ball out the window, that just started immediately rolling back down the hill. So I was like, go on then, do it one more time, reverse back down. Exact same thing again. Took it out of gear, as soon as he let his foot off the brake, it's like instant. It is like you're rolling down a pretty steep hill, but I can tell you for now, it wasn't a hill. It was, it was, but we were going up it. And again, if anybody lives in the Isle of Man, by all means, ask around, see if you can find this magnetic hill. Maybe you've already heard of it, maybe you've already tried it, but yeah, I was there. I kind of even went there with the intention of like, this is a load of bollocks and I'll prove it to you. But yeah, in the end I was proved wrong. I don't really know how to explain it for what it's worth. I don't really believe it could be like the Earth's magnetism, because it was too intense. How quick the car was going was ridiculous. Like, we were getting up for 30 miles an hour, and the ball I was dropping out the window wasn't just slowly dribbling down the hill. Like, it was a hill. It's a very noticeable hill, and yeah, like I say, if anyone does live on the Isle of Man, please by all means go and test it. Try and prove me wrong. I mean, don't go in like a car made of fiberglass. But we were in an old E34 BMW 525, so nice big fat lump of old school German steel. But yeah, it genuinely, we flew up the hill and the tennis ball rolled down. I don't really know. As I said, I don't really believe it's magnetism, but I certainly don't believe it's a ghost pushing anyone up the hill. And again, that claim has never been made with that specific location. There's places all around the world where you hear stuff like this happening. Like I say, depending on the area, some play it off as like a ghost story, others say it's the Earth's magnetism. I personally don't know myself, unless there's some serious concentration of like iron ore underneath. Again, it doesn't even make sense to me, but it is what it is. If you think I'm bullshitting, that's fair enough. Look at the loaf, goddamn professional. Like, he's made of a magnet, sticks in that dolphin like a good one. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. That was just some random stories that I thought I'd tell for Halloween. And one last one on this game. I mean, they've not really... It was a long shot, but it would have been pretty cool if they were able to add some kind of Halloween DLC. I mean, originally I was hoping / assuming that the DLCs that are on their way, Phase 2, they were going to be here in time for Halloween, and I was thinking maybe they'll put a little surprise in there. But yeah, sadly we're still... As far as I was going to say with live streaming as well, I'd like to do a live stream, and I'm going to do like a little test live stream at some point and just see if I even am able to do it and whatever. Yeah, but again, I kind of want to save it for nearer the time when this DLC is coming out, because I'd like to do, like, whether it's a live stream of exploring the maps or doing some of the newer missions. It's just at the minute, I spend a lot of my time on this game just messing around doing random things, and I don't really know how well it'd end up in a live stream, if that makes sense. It'd be nice if there was more purpose to the stream and what I'm doing. Yeah, sadly there is no Halloween event or anything like that, but somebody told me a little while ago, I appreciate the info, I'm on Drowned Lands right now, and I'm driving towards, it's called, I believe it's the Ruined Warehouse, and I believe it's where you get those nuclear storage containers. You have to pick 5 up from there, I think. I'm driving back somewhere, like I say, it's on Drowned Lands. You can see I just smashed my Dolphin up, whacked its its wheels and its chassis and that on the floor, but got a goddamn horse vehicle with me. It's got the repairs, so we're all good. We're good to go. Yeah, when you get to that Ruined Warehouse, as you approach there, it kind of, there's little signs in that are saying danger, radiation, and as you'll see when we get there, there's like a potentially little creepy surprise. I'll save it for a minute. Just while I am mentioning it though, you see like this big hole to the left of me. There's a lot of, not just this map, but I've noticed it on quite a few maps. It's not a criticism of this game, it's almost the opposite, to where like they went all out for not a lot of use, if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of areas on this map that you don't really get to use, considering the amount of potential effort. Like that big quarry thing that was to the left of me and all that, I don't think I've ever gone driving down there, I don't think I've ever had to. Yeah, there's a lot of buildings, a lot of creepy areas on this map. Like, if you remember, is it in Zimnogorsk, and there's somewhere else where you got to find 2 statues of Lenin. And it's like a big creepy, just old abandoned warehouse and factory. And it's like, they kind of put that in the game just so you had to drive past and find a Lenin statue. And like I say, I kind of appreciate the effort, but it'd be pretty cool, and fingers crossed if they're adding more contracts like they did to Michigan, that maybe they'll go back and kind of incorporate some of these. But yeah, there's a lot of areas on this map that you either don't really seem to use at all, or if you do, it's basically, you know, you turn up there once and that's it, you're kind of gone again and you never see that area again. And even that warehouse I just went to in the first mission, the Pipe Dream mission, yeah, like I say, you only really go there for those, like, to grab them, and you have to drop a drilling service part that's pretty much just fell off some truck outside the gates, and that's about it. I just want to say as well quickly, because I forgot to mention at the time, in the middle of quote-unquote ghost stories, yeah, thanks to, I believe it was Thingboy, for telling me at that warehouse you can grab metal beams as well. Where I got the bricks from, I took the Western Star Twin Stair. Yeah, I grabbed the bricks and the metal beams. I didn't know before that you could get the metal beams from there. I never even scrolled through all the different items you could grab. But that makes things easier, because it wouldn't surprise me if the first time I did that mission, I basically went to the other side of Black River to, you know, that little town area and got the metal beams. Anyway, we're at this ruined warehouse. Nothing much going on at the minute, but change it to night time. And then as you can see all around you, it's just kind of like, I suppose, a pretty cool little Easter egg. Yeah, there's loads of glowing eyes looking at you. But every time you try and go near any of them, they disappear. Can't really see any over there. And if you drive forward down that track, you can see one set of eyes down there. When you actually go further down there, you can see a few more light up. But yeah, I just thought it was pretty cool. You can yeah, see quite a few little glowing eyes around me. None of them dare come any closer, because I've got a goddamn horse with a vehicle with me, and they know what'll happen. But like I said, I don't know if it's just eyes in general. I've not seen this many eyes light up as well as this does, so I believe it's related to the fact that this area is something to do with nuclear activity. Like I said, you pick those nuclear containers, so maybe it's kind of radiated all the animals, and now they've all got glowing eyes. I've not seen any SnowRunner zombies running around, but you never know. There's still time. I mean, this is just potential screenshots for shirts, trying to get shirts on the go. Behind the scenes, that's how loaf porn is made. And just last one quickly, I just wanted to say, first, thank you to all my Patreon members. Secondly, apologies. I'll be honest, for the last couple of weeks, I forgot I even had a Patreon or anything, and then I got an email like last night, and I was like, oh yeah, shit. So I went back on it. Yeah, again, thank you to everyone that's supported me so far. Apologies for the late kind of shout out for it, but we got there in the end. I didn't put anybody's full name or anything. I just put like an initial as last name. If you want your full name, let me know, but I just didn't want to, yeah, put it out there like that just in case. Goddamn horse or vehicle, get yourself a loaf. That's about it for today. Happy Halloween. I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.